Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Cobra Kai Studio. I'm your host, Daniel Sun, and in today's video, we're going to go over part 2 of my favorite fights in Cobra Kai. We have 5 more fights to talk about, and this one we're going to go in a little more detail because these are some of the bigger fights, and I wanted to save them for this video for that purpose. I wanted to give a little more insight on the fights. My last video was kind of a test in the waters video. Wanted to make a video, see how it works, kind of get an understanding for how I want to do my YouTube channel, and just kind of give it a shot, you know what I mean? You got to try things. You can't be scared to try things in life. But for our very first fight we're going to talk about, the All Valley Karate Tournament. One of the best episodes in Season 1 in my opinion. It's very accurate to how real tournaments are. Now when I was in martial arts, the way that they do tournament fighting here, they had the points system, like the point sparring, which is what you see in the show, where when you make contact you get a point. But they also had timed rounds, which in my opinion is a lot less fun, because when you fight in rounds here, they would make you wear sparring gear and you had to wear, protection. When you did the point sparring though, you had the option to. So I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot more fun to do point sparring because you actually got to get into real contact with your opponent. And I feel like to actually learn and progress, if you don't ever step out of your comfort zone, you're never going to progress the way you really want to. So obviously in that episode alone, we see plenty of great fights. We also get to see how the students learned from Johnny, what he's actually taught so far moving into the end of Season 1, and we also get to see how Robbie learned from Daniel. Obviously, as we watch, we see Hawk, aka Eli, fight Robbie. Now in this match, we get to see where Hawk's going. We get, you get to see what he's learned so far, and he's stuck really bad into the fact that winning's everything. That you got to win no matter what you do. You got to win, and you see that he cheap shots Robbie when his back's turned, and that's not the way I go about it. Now I'm not gonna lie, I've actually been in a situation like that in an actual fight where when my back was turned, because I had gotten a point, he had tried to trip me and sweep me off my feet. They did get disqualified, but I also got hurt and wasn't able to actually continue because my ankle. Tried, but it just didn't work. So I feel that in a very serious way. I know how that could be very upsetting. If that was me to be Robbie, I would suck. But you also see that that's very similar to the Karate Kid with how Johnny and Daniel's fight went. The master teaches the student, and the student either replicates, progresses, or fails. And in my opinion, yeah, he replicated and he demonstrated what he learned from Johnny, but he did it way too much. There's too much crease in the teachings there, and you can obviously see it. It's very, 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 very obvious. But it's kind of to be expected. Honestly, it wouldn't be a good show if it wasn't like that. You have to see all the characters progress and become who they become, which you obviously see when Robbie and Miguel fight. Things really get to Johnny when he sees that even Miguel is only about winning at that point in time and goes straight for Robbie's weaknesses. He sees that he's weak in his arm, and that's what will be tied into the last fight we're going to talk about. But Robbie goes to shake his hand, and what does Miguel do? He cheap shots him. Injures his arm even more. Something that is very, very crease-like, if we say so. And it's just like, it's kind of to be expected, though. I mean, you wouldn't have a good show if you didn't have characters where they have things that they do that you love and hate. A lot of shows do that. It makes the show great. Let's be honest. But that's going to be one of the main things I wanted to talk about, because you see that in real life a lot. So, I mean, the way that they captured the fighting scenes and the accuracy of a tournament is very astonishing, and I really enjoy that about the show. You don't expect it, but they do. They capture a lot of things that are accurate. Now, of course, they do have some mistakes, but it's a TV show, and you got to make things look great on screen. So, it is what it is. One thing that's also really nice that I like to see was the fact that Robbie did the 2-foot kick standing on his hand, which you obviously hear Daniel talk about, saying he never got to really learn that. Only Mr. Miyagi was able to do that. So it's kind of exciting that you see him throw that in there. Yeah, he didn't win, but in my opinion, he fought very, very true, like a real martial artist would. And for that, I respect the hell out of him. It was badass, let's be honest. Now, the next fight I want to talk about, I was going to add it into my first part 1, but I didn't want to make it more than 5 fight scenes that I talked about, so we left it for this one, which is, of course, Season 1, Episode 1, where we actually see the very first fight in the whole show, honestly, which is when Johnny and Miguel are at the store, and Kyler and his punk of friends pick on Miguel. Obviously, Johnny steps in and intervenes when Miguel gets pushed into his car. He gets pissed off, who wouldn't, and takes action. He actually sticks up, in a sense, for Miguel and himself, I guess, and that's the first fight we see in the show, which is so funny because when he throws that kick, I felt that. I've been there where you don't work out or practice martial arts for a while, and you go and you try to throw a kick that you know you used to could do, and he's like, oh, ow, you know what I mean? I've been there, I know that. I just recently got back into full-blown practicing martial arts this year. I go through phases, I'm not gonna lie. I go through phases where I'm really into martial arts and then come out of it. What's crazy is I got really big into martial arts again this year, before even knowing Cobra Kai existed. If it wasn't for Bonsai Kai Dojo, Sensei, and Guest Sensei, I would have never even probably known the show came out until Netflix took over. I'd probably just barely be hearing about the show. So I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate y'all's help. Y'all are amazing friends, and I couldn't have done anything without y'all. Y'all have helped me more than y'all know. But, not to get off topic, but martial arts has always been a part of my life, so I love to sit here and express and talk about it. As we go, I plan to do more interesting videos. I want to show certain scenes recreated from someone that's actually been trained in martial arts as well, like breaking boards, breaking bricks on fire, as well as bringing my master on eventually, who trained me, so we could do a side-by-side talk and kind of just explain things, you know. He does movie stunts now for Hollywood, so he's not actually training people in martial arts anymore. He actually trains people to do movie stunts, and he's actually starred in his own movies recently, and he's actually making his own movie. So it's going to be exciting to kind of get to bring other people on the show, sit down and have a talk. Those will probably be really long videos, obviously, because, yeah, we can get into some stories there. But we'll go on to the third fight. The third fight, which is also one that I really liked because it brought back so many memories from the Karate Kid, which is when Robbie's trying to confront his bullies again. Well, I don't know if he really was trying to confront them, but he was, found their stash spot at the beach, and they stumble across him, and, they pull a knife on Robbie. They hit him from behind when he wasn't expecting it because he thought there was only 2 of them. And then Daniel steps in. This had so much references back to when Miyagi did the same for him in the Karate Kid. And I loved that. I thought that was great that they did that. I mean, it made the show that much better, in my opinion, for that episode. So I thought that was great to tie in ties from the Karate Kid, because obviously where did Cobra Kai come from? The Karate Kid, obviously. So I thought that really, really made it a difference in that episode. And the fact that Daniel steps down and to be honest, beats their ass. It was great. It was a great, great episode. And yeah, I don't know, there's really not much to say about it. I mean, it's a really short clip, honestly. It's not a very long fight. It's not like episode 10 where where there's so much to talk about on that I had to kind of cut it short because I don't want this to be an hour-long video. But I mean, there's a lot that I could talk about in that tournament. But we also have another fight that I want to talk a lot about for the last one. So we'll move on to, not really a fight, but a fight that we'd damn sure love to see, which is Johnny versus Daniel. Now, in episode 9 of season 1, it almost seems like we're going to get that fight. They burnt Johnny's car. He's pissed off. He thinks Daniel, set it up. So he goes to confront him, and they almost fight. I was so excited when I watched this episode. I was like, oh, man, we get to see them fight again? Oh, it was so exciting. And then they don't. They eat breakfast. But I'm not going to lie. I understand. There's either going to be a fight with them or there's not. It's how it's going to be. I'm hoping down the line, season 3, 4, one of them seasons, I hope we get to see them fight, even if it's just a friendly sparring match. Don't know if that's how it's going to be, considering how season 2 ended. And when, Johnny's done with Cobra Kai. I mean, he lost Cobra Kai to Kreese, throws the keys in the car, throws his phone, didn't even see that Ali sent him a friend request. It's crazy. We don't know what to expect fully, but we know that season 3 is going to capture our minds in a whole different way. And I can't wait to see it, you know. And I'm sure everybody here already heard everything that I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm late to the party, but still here. So, you know, got to start somewhere. I have some other things we're going to talk about along the lines of martial arts in Cobra Kai, which are going to be different videos. But I wanted to do these videos first because I love the fight scenes. Let's be honest, when I was a kid, martial art movies like Bruce Lee, the Ninja Turtles, the Karate Kid, a lot of Jackie Chan movies really inspired me to get into martial arts. And I don't know, I've always loved fight scenes. It's really interesting how they capture the fighting of people in movies. And of course there's the Oriental movies that they go way overboard on some of them, but you know, they're still kind of interesting too. But these movies like that really touched me in a way that always attracted martial arts to my heart, in a way, I guess the best way to say it. I've always been drawn to martial arts, and what I was taught was Taekwondo. So what I was taught was Taekwondo, and I also got taught Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and some karate. But the main thing I was taught and trained most of my life in is Taekwondo, which is a different fighting style than what is portrayed in Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is a certain type of karate that's different than Taekwondo, but they have their similarities. Some certain moves and forms and styles are different, named different. Some moves are the same move, just called something different. So, you know, that'll be something I want to explain later in later videos. Kind of explain how I was taught, what things I was taught. Kind of just explain martial arts to everybody. Not everybody's got into martial arts. Some people just love movies about martial arts and TV shows about martial arts, but don't know everything about martial arts behind the scenes, basically to say. And that's something I would love to explain more and go into further detail. Not going to in this video, because this video's, you know, just about the fights themselves. But the final fight that I really want to talk about is, in my opinion, the biggest fight of the entire show so far. Season 2, Episode 10. The high school fight. The most badass fight, in my opinion. The fight where we get to see where everybody in the show has led up to become, who they become, and how they fight. Now we get to see Sam versus Tori, Miguel versus Robbie again. And we also get to see something that was really awesome, Dimitri kick Hawk's ass. I thought that was great when Dimitri kicks him right through the trophy case into the glass. That was perfect. I want to start there because the whole show, Dimitri was like scared to stick up for himself. He was scared to stick up for himself. You could see it. And the fact that he finally really stick up for himself and kicks Hawk's ass, so great. That was one of my favorite parts. And I couldn't believe that they put that in for season 2, but I think that was brilliant. The fact that they did that was just amazing. Then, you know, the next one was Sam and Tori. This was also a pretty interesting fight because you kind of get to see something different, honestly. The way they fight, and then you see that Tori's kind of crooked, which, you know, everybody still has speculations of where the hell does Tori come from? Who the hell is Tori? You know, which I'm sure we'll find out in season 3. There's a lot that I'm hoping that it gets explained in season 3 and doesn't get dragged on to season 4, because we've already, you know, I've been waiting for just, you know, a short period of time compared to everybody else. But the fact that anybody that's been watching Cobra Kai from the beginning has been waiting well over a year now for season 3 is so heartbreaking. But I guess at the end of the day, I can understand it. I know how hard it had to have been to transfer Cobra Kai from YouTube over to a Netflix program, add all the editing, redo everything along that lines, and get it ready to be their show, which is great. I kind of enjoyed the fact that Cobra Kai is going to be on Netflix. I feel like it opens the doors for Cobra Kai to a huger audience, 1,000 times over. And the fact that it's number 1 over in the US on Netflix shows exactly that everybody's loving the hell out of this show, especially people that were Karate Kid enthusiasts and Karate Kid fans, you know, from the beginning, and don't even know that this show existed, and then to see it pop up on Netflix, and they have 2 seasons at that. I can imagine how many people binge watch the hell out of it. I did, and I've already seen it plenty of times, you know what I mean? So I can just imagine how that went with everybody. Now, we're going to go over the last fight that really shows who Robbie and Miguel is, okay? Obviously, I can kind of understand, but kind of don't with how this went. Obviously, it was a great fight. You see Robbie and Miguel really show their experience that they've learned. some good and some bad. Obviously, with Robbie at the end, there's a lot of speculation there. Like, would you say that Daniel taught Robbie wrong? I mean, they always say that there's not a bad student, just a bad master. But would you say that Daniel taught him wrong to the fact that he cheap-shotted Miguel in a sense? Miguel tried to offer a piece in a sense and take Johnny's advice of being a better person, being better than he was. And what does Robbie do? He don't accept that. But Miguel didn't accept him either. At the end of season 1 in the tournament, Robbie tried to shake his hand and Miguel did the same damn thing. So it's like, can you really blame it on Daniel? Or is it just Robbie made a mistake? You know? It's hard to say. It's really hard, tough decision for me to say. I'm going to say probably not. I wouldn't say it was really Daniel's fault, but I know he thinks it is, and he takes it as it's his fault, especially considering the way things go. And, you know, you kind of seem like Amanda kind of blames him for a lot of things. Johnny blames him. Johnny blames himself. It goes so south so quick, but makes for such an interesting cliffhanger. I mean, everybody wants to know what's going to happen next with Miguel. You know, obviously Robbie didn't kill Miguel. They're not going to kill him off, let's be honest. They're not going to kill him off. They could paralyze him. I don't see them doing that really either, though, because it wouldn't make sense, you know, to make one of their main actors lead up to season 3 just for him to be not a part of it in a sense, just to be in the bed, not able to move. So I don't see them doing that. I feel like they're going to have him in a coma for the first few episodes, and then I feel like he's going to wake up, and I feel like him and Johnny are going to reconnect. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like they're going to reconnect, and we're going to get to see them in a different way. I mean, obviously, I don't feel like Miguel's going to... I don't know. I've had this feeling that I don't think Miguel's going to stay with Cobra Kai, as weird as it is. I feel like he might even... I don't know. I guess it's going to be a tough decision. It's going to be really interesting to see where they go with this, because there's so many different ways they can take this show now, with the fact of how they left it as a cliffhanger. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong, right, make us laugh, make us happy, make us sad. I mean, it's interesting. I could sit here and talk about it all day. I'm not going to, obviously, but, you know, that's why I wanted to bring up that fight for the last one, because there's so much that could be talked about in that fight. I mean, you see all of the students